Hey guys, here I am with my Samsung Galaxy Fold 4, which I unboxed about a week or so ago. And since then, I have been using this as my main phone. This is the phone that I use every single day, 24 hours, or not quite, I do need to sleep. But what I'd like to do in this video is talk about the folding mechanism, because what separates this phone from other phones is the fact that you open it up and you have what effectively looks like two phones stuck together, but it feels like a tablet when you're using it. And obviously that's different to what most other phones in the market are like, where you've got that kind of candy bar style, that basically a slab of glass. This is a little bit different, you know, there's no getting away from that, and it's the big selling point, and it is what separates this from every other phone out there. Now, one thing I will say right away about the folding mechanism is that you've got the fold in the middle, you've got that line, and it's kind of weird. It's like an optical illusion, because when you're using it and it's facing you like that, and you're browsing the web and you're watching Netflix and YouTube, etc., you don't see that line. It's like it kind of disappears. It's weird, you just don't notice it. But if you see someone else using this phone, you know, my wife was using it and she was sitting to the side, this fold is so obvious, you can see it, you know, it just kind of sticks out. But it's kind of good that way, you know, when you're using it, you just don't notice that folding line in the middle. Now you can see it's kind of fading there. I haven't adjusted the settings the way that I want. I haven't set up the apps, etc., the way that I want either. So I'm still kind of finding my feet with this. But what I would say is that before I bought this phone, it was obviously in a very expensive phone, and there's always a small part of you that thinks, is the folding mechanism a gimmick? Is it something that's, you know, just going to be a boring little feature after a while? And you quickly realize it's not. It really does feel like the future of phones. It feels like this is the way that all phones should be, certainly from a productivity point of view. Now, the interesting thing is that what I found is that during the day, this is how I use it. This is my phone. I use it like this. It's long, it's thin. Takes you a little while to get used to the fact that, you know, it's not as wide as most other phones here. So you're kind of a little bit crunched up a little bit more. But you get used to that with typing, and you're not making any mistakes after a while. And this is how I use it during the day. I'm not opening it up. I'm not, you know, trying to be flashy. I'm just using it as a phone. You know, I'm using the camera, I'm messaging people, I'm watching YouTube, etc. And this is how I use it. But obviously everyone's going to use it differently, but for me, when I come home and then I start to browse the web, and when I, you know, look at YouTube and, you know, watch Netflix, etc., that's when this comes into its own, you know, and certainly comes into its own from a productivity point of view. Now, a lot of what I'm saying here is obviously applicable to all folding phones, but Samsung have done a fantastic job here, you know, just with the way that they've implemented how things work. Even little things, just as, you know, you open it up and then it goes to the app that you were using. Like that works really well. When it goes the other way, you know, I've got it set up just now, it just kind of closes, which is kind of makes sense actually, because if you're using the phone and then you fold it up, normally that means that you're closing it, you don't want to use it anymore. But yeah, it works really, really well. The fact that you can be watching a video or something, and I'll turn this down. You can be watching a video or something, and then it will just open up in, you know, the larger screen. Oh, I hate advertisements as much as you guys. So I'll show you that just now. So you've got your video, and I can go, you know, full screen just like anyone else, and then when you open it, there you go, it does that. And it's fantastic when you're doing that. But what I find is that I don't actually watch videos that much like that, because what I do is use this little bar at the side. And this bar is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. It's, you know, you can see how I've got some things set up here, but what I can do is just, you know, you can just do that, for example, and it'll just load up the browser. And that's like a special one that I've set up. But you can do lots of things, you know, you can, you know, if I wanted to, I could put Twitter down there. There you go, that's Twitter. You can be productive like that. You can also put a floating one in the middle here, which I'll be honest, I don't like. I find it annoying. But you can do that like that. and you can drop it there for pop-out view. I find it annoying because it kind of gets hard to remove sometimes, but there we go. So this mechanism here, or this little kind of slide out bar, this for me is a major game changer. It is absolutely fantastic. It really is, and this is what I find myself using all the time. You know, I'm just clicking that, and then I'm browsing, and I'm, you know, watching videos, and I can read about things, you know, read about a review whilst I'm watching the review. Now, the cool thing about it as well is that, you know, that little side menu is at the front as well. So the phone knows, you know, you can see here that I've got a preset that I've got YouTube on the left and a browser, Chrome, on the right, but I've also got it, if I want to, I've got YouTube in the top half, and I've got the browser at the bottom, but it knows when it's, you know, when you've got it at the front. So if I push that, it defaults to the other mode because it knows that you can't divide it here at the front. Now, one thing, you know, it does kind of stay in that mode when you open up here. And this is actually quite a good, you know, way to use it as well, just because you can see more of the video. But if you find that annoying that it opens up this way, then we'll just click that and go back. So I've been experimenting with this a lot, and the more I use this bar, the more I love it. And it's very flexible, you know, as far as how you set it up. And if you click here, you can see you can move it like that. You can move it like that. You can change it around, you know, horizontally, vertically. You can move them, you know, in 4 different quadrants, but you're limited to 3, and then, you know, the 4th hovers. But if you like a particular one, you know, you can see here that you can change it like that. If you like a particular setup, you know, and you've got it the way that you want it, you just star and you add it to your edge panel. And it's fantastic because over time, what you'll find is that you do, you know, tend to gravitate towards a certain setup. For me, it's, you know, kind of YouTube on the left, a browser on the right. And then when I need to, I'll drop Twitter in, I'll drop WhatsApp on there, and then, you know, I can take it away. And I love how much you can just customize this and make it your own. You know, you can be watching videos, replying to comments here, reading a review. It seems like overkill. Maybe it seems like you don't need that. But for me, taking notes, you know, I send emails to myself a lot when I read articles, and, you know, it gives me ideas and different things, my websites and work and different things. It's just fantastic. It really is fantastic. Now, obviously, this is, you can use the pen for productivity. It's worth noting this only works in the middle. I'll talk about it in a different video, but just when I was on the subject of productivity. So the way Samsung have set this up, you know, the way they've set this up, it's absolutely amazing in my opinion. I think they've done a fantastic job, which is to be expected, I guess. You know, this is the 4th generation. It's not like I'm, you know, one of the first people to use this phone. They've had a few years to kind of tweak this and optimize this for a folding phone. But, you know, someone coming in, you know, in the 4th generation, I do notice these little tweaks, and I do notice how refined it is. Now, if you, another thing you'll maybe notice there is your apps as well. I've got my apps set up like that. I've been experimenting with different launchers because you know, I wasn't set up with the Samsung one. But one thing you'll note there is I've got my emails and different thing there. You know, I've got, say, Call of Duty installed down there. And when you do open it up, I've got it set up so that, you know, it just spans across it. So it's pretty cool. Samsung's OS here, Home, I think they call it, was it Home OS or something like that, or Home UI. I'm getting used to it, and it is quite good. You know, my concern with Samsung over the years was their whole setup was bloated. And yes, there are a lot of apps, but you can remove them for the most part. And yeah, their OS is pretty cool, you know, how it all works. One thing I did notice is that if you do use another launcher, for example, I used to always use the Microsoft launcher, right? This was the one that I used. This, you know, was the launcher that I get used to, and I loved it. You know, I really did love it. And I'll just bring this up again. Sorry, I'm at the wrong bit. So one of the things I loved about this is that I could save it and export it to another phone, and it's, you know, you see similar options with Nova Launcher, etc. as well. When you're browsing the web here, though, like that, you'll see this bar down the bottom. Now, because I haven't set this as my launcher yet, you know, I pushed later, I can see these icons at the bottom because this is actually a Samsung UI thing. This is a Samsung launcher. When you use Nova Launcher or you use the Microsoft Launcher, these icons disappear because they don't have support for it. This is a unique thing to the Samsung UI. So that's worth noting because, and I could show you that just now, but I'll quickly show you what I'm talking about as far as the actual feature. When you're browsing it here, you'll see these icons down the bottom, and what it allows you to do is just, well, you can just quickly, you know, put that there, or if you want, just switch to it, and that's you got it. And you can customize this just as much as you customize, you know, the Edge panel. It really is fantastic. It just gives you another wee quick, you know, navigation menu to jump back and forth to where you want to be. Just makes it a lot quicker to get to where you want to be as well. But like I was saying, if you know, choose another launcher, I'll set this as default. One UI home. I was very close. Now, if I do that, you'll see those icons are gone because that is a feature that's unique to, you know, to Samsung's launcher. So I'm in the settings area. I'm going to switch back to One UI Home. And one thing I did notice is that when you switch back to Samsung's launcher, when you initially load things back up, those icons kind of disappear for a while. And I think that's just a quirk of launchers as far as this hasn't reloaded correctly. If I restarted or, you know, I quit all my apps, those would be back. But that's just something that I noticed. There's a lot of things that I haven't spoke about. There's a lot of things I haven't mentioned, you know, as far as using this. But the core thing I want to get through is that the fold phone is not a gimmick. It really is not a gimmick. It works. It really does work. Certainly when you get it the right way. I need to put on auto rotate here. There we go. There we go. So it really does work with how you use this. You know, you can use it any way you want. You can have things there. You can type here. You can browse the web here. You can open it up. You can consume content. And before you know it, you just start using it instinctively. You know, you start using it that way. Put portrait mode back on. So everyone is going to be using this in a different way, but I think that Samsung have done a fantastic job of optimizing this. Even just little things, you know, when you're taking a video or something, you can do the cover screen preview, and then you can use the back cameras, but get like a selfie preview when you're using the back camera. So I think they've done a fantastic job of optimizing it. What I found, you know, I use this all day long. This is the phone I use, but as soon as I get home, you know, I open it up and I can read, I can watch, you know, videos, I can browse the web. And I guess, I mean, again, I've only been using the phone for a week or so, you know, don't take this as gospel, but a part of me thinks, how would I ever go back to using a phone like this? Because this is so much more fun, it's so much more productive, and it just feels like this is the way that it should be. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Fold. I'm sure some of you watching this do actually have a folding phone as well, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and I'd love to hear from everyone who, you know, just loves smartphones. Let me know what you think of the Fold. Do you think it's a gimmick? Do you think this is a feature that you would pay extra for? Let me know in the comment area. Until next time, guys, take care.